Golden State Killer, how the case was actually solved for decades. One offender terrorized California under different names: the Visalia Ransacker, the East Area Rapist, the original Night Stalker. Today, we know this case as the Golden State Killer. This episode is not about sensational details. It's about how this case was actually solved from an investigative standpoint and why. Documentation and evidence preservation mattered more than anything else. Between the mid-1970s and mid-1980s, a series of burglaries, sexual assaults, and murders occurred across multiple California jurisdictions. The problem? They weren't initially connected. Different counties, different investigators, different case names. In the 1970s, there was no shared digital database, no real-time information sharing, no integrated crime analysis platforms. Each agency worked its own case. From an investigative perspective, this is how patterns get missed, not because officers aren't capable, but because infrastructure doesn't exist yet. Eventually, similarities surfaced: entry methods, pre-attack surveillance, control tactics inside the home. Behavioral linkage analysis suggested the same offender was evolving geographically and tactically, but proving linkage in that era required time, communication, and coordination across agencies that didn't always share systems. The offender adapted. He moved locations, he escalated, and then the crimes stopped. That's where most cases fade. But this case didn't disappear. It paused. Biological evidence had been collected and preserved from multiple crime scenes. That decision evidence preservation became the most important factor decades later. In the 2000s, DNA technology advanced dramatically. Profiles were entered into CODIS, but there was no match. The case remained cold. Then, investigators took a different approach. Instead of looking for the suspect directly, they looked for relatives. In 2018, investigators used a public genealogy database GEDmatch to upload the crime scene DNA profile. They weren't searching for the offender, they were searching for partial family matches. Distant cousins appeared. From there, genealogists constructed family trees. They narrowed branches. They eliminated based on age, location, and gender. Eventually, one name rose to the top: Joseph James DeAngelo. But even then, investigators didn't move immediately. They conducted surveillance. They collected discarded DNA from a public source. They tested it. It matched the preserved crime scene evidence. After more than 40 years, the case was solved, not through luck, through preserved evidence and evolving technology. People often ask, why did this take so long? Here's the reality. Technology wasn't ready in the 70s. DNA databases didn't exist. Genealogical mapping tools weren't available. Interagency digital integration was limited. Cold cases aren't always inactive. They're resource-dependent, they're technology-dependent. Sometimes they're simply waiting for the right tool to exist. There are several major takeaways from this case. First, preserve everything. Evidence that seems routine today may become critical decades later. Second, documentation matters. Detailed reports allow future investigators to reconstruct patterns long after original officers retire. Third, avoid tunnel vision. The offender in this case was a former law enforcement officer. Assumptions can blind investigations. Fourth, technology changes outcomes. What's unsolvable today may be solvable tomorrow. And finally, collaboration matters. Modern investigative systems exist because cases like this expose the gaps. The Golden State Killer case proves something simple but powerful. Your report today might be the conviction 30 years from now. Investigations don't always end when the trail goes cold. Sometimes they're just waiting. Like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next upload.